Hello everyone, and welcome to our immersive experience session at the blooloop Festival of Innovation. We have a really fantastic panel today. So I'm joined by Kirsten Taylor-Hall, Zack Sugarman, and Meg Parker. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you could all just sort of talk a little bit about, who you are and your role and how you've sort of come into the attractions industry. So Meg, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. I'm Meg Parker. I'm the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at Area 15, which is an immersive art and entertainment district located a few minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. We opened in September of 2020. We are basically a curation of experiences, immersive attractions, events, entertainment, food and beverage, all of these amazing things together. What started out as one building is now rapidly expanding into a district. And we have inside our building is our anchor tenant, Meow Wolf. We have a luminarium right outside of our main building. And over the last couple of years, what's been really exciting about our business is that we are growing and expanding significantly. So Lionsgate will be bringing the John Wick experience in the next month or so, which we were super excited about. Superplastic has joined us inside the building with their new dopamine experience, which is like nothing else you've ever seen. And then in this year, in 2025, just to the north of our main building, we'll be expanding by another 20 acres and bringing in some really amazing partners and companies and very recognizable IP brands. Principally, Universal will be doing their first ever Halloween horror experience. And then we recently announced that Felix and Paul Studios will be joining us. So all of this together, what started out as a 200,000 square foot warehouse building with some immersive experiences in it has really grown to almost 40 acres. So it's been an incredible journey along the way. I've been with the company since day one, and it's been amazing to watch its growth. I'm really excited about it.
I mean, I think everyone in the industry has loved watching Area 15 grow. I know at blooloop we have loved seeing it. So I'm excited to hear more in just a moment. But Kirsten, can you tell us a bit about your role at Lionsgate?
Sure, happy to do that. So it's nice to be here. My name's Kirsten Taylor-Hall. I'm the Vice President of Partner Relations for our Global Products and Experiences team. I focus on live and location-based entertainment, but our GPE team, as we call it, is a little unique at Lionsgate in that we include live and location-based entertainment, gaming, as well as consumer products, all together, all working hand in hand, because we really find that that's how you get great experiences across the board. And we really can't figure out how to separate them. So that makes a lot of good sense for us. We're very excited, as Meg said, to be bringing the John Wick experience to Las Vegas at Area 15 in the next month. So that's a huge project for us with one of our very, very powerful brands at the studio. We've had a real busy year for Global Products and Experiences in 2024 and even more so coming up in 2025. But another project that you all may have heard about that we opened fairly recently was the Paddington Bear experience in London. That's with our partners at Studio Canal Kids and Family, as well as the Path Entertainment Group. And that's an incredible immersive experience in County Hall in London. So we're very excited about that. We have another Paddington experience that's going to be opening in Hong Kong at 11 Skies, coming up also within the next few months. And we've announced we also have a Hunger Games live show opening in London. We're very excited about that, focusing on the first book. And then, that's just in addition to the whole slate of really exciting films we have coming out as a studio. So
just a small amount of things that you're working on.
Just to keep us busy.
Yeah. Zack, can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on at Superplastic at the moment?
Yeah, no, it's great to be on this panel talking with everyone. I feel like I'm in the company of some awesome experts here, except probably one of the more newbie ones to the immersive experiential world. Have a big background in sports entertainment, but I serve as the chief strategy officer at Superplastic. And historically, people know us as a vinyl art toy company. We make amazing vinyl art figures around our core characters, Janky and Googymon. Those characters are also kind of synthetic celebrities, meaning we do animated content and put it out online, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. They have like 30 million followers, a billion plus video views. So they're definitely known from a fun animated content side and making the toys. And then, a few years ago, we partnered up with Area 15 and then looking at like, hey, where is the next type of place to engage our fans and kind of grow our brand beyond the physical and digital, definitely identified an immersive experience as being that go-to. And so where we're heading now, Superplastic, I tell people we're more of a demented Disney, a degenerate Disney, and now we have our own little mini Disneyland, and it's dopamine at Area 15. We'll continue to do merch, continue to do content. Dopamine itself, we can get to, you tell me when, because it definitely takes an explanation. But basically, it's tied to all of our IP. It brings visitors into the experience as participants versus kind of free flowing. So you tell me when, and I'll break it down. But it's been new for us. It's been tons of fun, very successful. We have amazing partners at Area 15. We're right when you walk in on the right. We opened 2 months ago. So kind of seeing it through the holidays and what we have moving forward, it's very fun. And this is just the beginning based on what we've seen so far.
Fantastic. And yeah, if you could sort of tell us a little bit more about the dopamine experience, that would be fantastic.
Perfect. So real quick, Janky and Googymon, from a background story and lore, they're a little mischievous, kind of like a Ren and Stimpy type or Beavis and Butthead. They're known for pranks, but also climbing the social status. So they're all about clout chasing and rising the social ladder. And so they run a lot of schemes to do that, but kind of fun schemes, not super nefarious. And dopamine is their newest scheme. So basically, Janky and Googymon want to understand what creates dopamine in your system so they can extract it, can it, and sell it back to you as a drug. So that is their next get-rich scheme, is to understand what makes people happy, causes dopamine. They're going to pull it out and sell it back. And so we've created this Dopamine Institute for Pleasure Research, or DIPER for short. We are a little fun with our style. And it really brings kind of the attendees in as participants. So Googymon is the doctor, Janky is his assistant, our other cast of characters are part of it. And basically you're brought into a human trial research institute. So you are put in situations where you're touching things, looking at things, interacting with things to see if it elicits dopamine. And so, some of those things from a biology and chemical standpoint would be dancing. So one of the rooms is a private dancer and you're in your own bathroom stall and you have a vertical mirror with our characters basically telling you certain dance moves to do while the lights and the music start changing. So it's like your own little mini dance revolution within it. But then when you go before you leave, you get to see how everyone danced from a motion capture standpoint. We have another room called Heavy Pedal, where basically you have to keep moving on a pedal bike, hand or foot. And the faster you pedal, the more content you get shown on an iPad. So you're looking at content while pedaling, but you're also keeping one of our characters suspended above a fan. If you don't pedal fast enough, they fall into the fan and rainbow guts and blood go everywhere. If you pedal too fast, they fly out of it and go into the sky. So it's kind of this blending of digital and physical reality to see what people like. Do they want to keep our characters alive? Do they want to see the rainbow blood come out? Do they want to dance just like them or do their other moves? So there are a couple rooms like that. There's another one where you're put in controls as the doctor, where you can start to impact the rooms behind you as people are coming through with sound effects, with noises, with different music. We have a bunch of our toys spread throughout and other type of peepholes to look into. Everything is tracked with RFID and motion capture. So when you leave the experience, you're given this amazing digital takeaway that kind of identifies, one, if you're human, two, what your prescription should be. Do you have a great amount of dopamine? Do you need more? What should that be? Should it be dancing more things, buying more things, or less? And so it kind of has that awesome photos, video takeaway that then you can share with your friends. And each room's kind of gamified as well. So there are leaders, right, who kept the characters alive the longest, who killed the most, who danced the best. And then the last room I haven't talked about is kind of a lie detector test. You're given a bunch of prompts and you're basically answering with truth or a lie. If you're telling a lie, then our character on the screen gets zapped because we're trying to encourage people to tell the truth. So it's very, very fun interaction with Janky and Googymon throughout. It's built in a way where if you know our characters, this is like truly the Disneyland of those characters. So you are fully surrounded and immersed with them. But we also built it where you don't need to know anything about Superplastic or Janky and Googymon, and you will love the experience. It's very different than some of the things at Area 15 because it's not self-guided. We kind of pulse through rooms. You have kind of a lab attendant telling you what to do in each one. There are some of these gamification issues and the leaderboard, etc. So it really is fun for anyone that just likes cool interactive experiences. And then if you really know our brand or like our characters, this really brings you to the next level type of immersion with them.
Wow. I mean, it sounds so incredible. Why did you decide to kind of gamify it to such an extent and to kind of give people that agency? And have there been any surprises that people have kind of shown as they travel through the experience?
Yeah, a couple of things in the gamification. I mean, one, we just see a lot of affinities with kind of our fans and consumers and just in terms of what they like. So, for example, our characters are skins in a literal game in Fortnite. Epic Games license them, people play as them a lot. So there's that type of gamification. But otherwise, it's a group kind of setting where you go in as groups of 8. And so we wanted to build off that communal nature of like, hey, or am I trying to beat my friend? Am I trying to work with them? Or am I doing it all on my own? So it's kind of a casual leaderboard if you want, but you kind of want to be able to see how you do. If you come back again on a second visit, are you beating your score? Are you progressing? We are talking today after having some internal offsites of how could we roll out, leaderboards more prominently and really encourage people to try and beat the daily score or kind of the month high. And if they do, does that unlock something else? Just gives a fun element to it. So we want it where people can take the photos, capture it for the Instagram, but also a little competitive nature, right? Brings people more involved. It puts more stakes in it, if you will. And do it in our style and in our tone. So it isn't a true, I want to get first or second. It's gamified, but it's kind of with a tongue-in-cheek side, right? It's kind of more to make fun of your friend, or are we getting messed with by the brand and they're trying to, see if we can do this, even though we never may be able to do it. You never know with Superplastic and Janky and Googymon because they do mess with the consumers in that way.
Fantastic. It sounds really interesting and really immersive by giving the visitors that kind of element of control. Kirsten, can you talk a little bit about the John Wick experience? I know it's not open yet, but what can you share about it?
Sure. So what guests will find when they come to the John Wick experience is the Continental Las Vegas. So the Continentals factor heavily in this IP. And we're really excited to be able to have guests come into a completely immersive, cinematic environment. It's like you're walking into one of the sets from one of the films, right? So you enter this world. It's a ticketed experience, so everyone knows you're coming. They're ready for you. And as you enter in this pulsed experience through multiple environments, you're assigned a mission. So you go through their interactors. It's a very rich environment that people get to impact and interact with. And because of that, every time guests go through, it's going to be a little different. So we find that that's really important to our guests. They want to have an experience that they have an impact in. They want to have something where they really feel they are taken through this neon world of John Wick. And so, I've never seen anything like it before, and that's very exciting to us. And so that was very important to us, especially with this IP. Whenever we decide to activate with it, like we have around the world, we want to be sure that it's super innovative. We have been partnering with, of course, the filmmakers on this. Chad Stahelski has, he's absolutely aware of everything we're doing, super excited about it, and has been able to provide really good feedback too and really good encouragement. Right. And then we have a partner like Area 15 that also loves to do things that have never been done before. We're also partnering with Egan Productions, and they really specialize on bringing in guests and allowing them to have an impact in the environment and completely immersive. So we're not getting into too many specifics yet. That will be rolling out, of course, as we get even closer to opening. But there are also a lot of the experience is ticketed, but we also have a bar, a highly themed, really beautiful bar that we've worked on with Area 15. So the public can come into that. We have some wonderful retail, of course, because people want that too. And so there are a lot of facets to this experience. And, I don't know, do you have any other questions about it? Like I said, I can't really go through blow by blow.
Yeah, I think, let's leave things for people to discover when they go. I'm just really interested in this idea of giving people a mission, and so the experience will change. Presumably that's going to be really handy for repeatability. So is that also a consideration when you were making those decisions?
Absolutely. And we look, when we're making decisions about what to do with these IPs that are so important to the studio, we look at this as a long-term experience. We're hoping it has a really great, really long run. And so as that happens over the years, we're going to learn even more about this whole universe of John Wick. We want to be able to keep evolving, to keep adding in new details as more is revealed about this IP. And so that's with us from the beginning, right? We think this is going to be long term. We know the studio is so fully invested in this IP, there's going to be more and more coming. So whatever we create, we want to be sure that we can update it and keep it fresh. And our fans want to be engaged in something that feels new and has never been done before. So we make sure when it opens, it's fresh and new. And then also, as we move forward through time, we're able to keep it updated. And that's exciting for everybody. It's exciting for everybody who's in there working as interactors, is for our team, for everyone. So it keeps it feeling very active and really vibrant.
Absolutely. Meg, what made Area 15 want to work with both Lionsgate and Superplastic on these new immersive experiences?
I mean, I just love those two very very different explanations of the actual experiences themselves, but there's actually so many similarities. And the thing that excites me is Area 15 just seamlessly can be the catalyst between these very two different, IP characters. John Wick is a very well-established IP piece of content, and then Gugiman and his the Superplastic characters are very different ends of the spectrum. But which is amazing is they're all sort of seamlessly connecting into a place like Area 15. And what I'm also hearing is something that Area 15 has been a brand pillar or cornerstone from day one with us, is that we want to bring our guests we have a saying, we want to bring them from spectator to participant. Every single person that walks through the door, we want them to be interacting and in control of what they want to do inside the building. And I just love this idea of one of our guests being able to go into the dopamine experience and doing all these, physical exercises and dancing, and then going in and having a drink in the Continental Hotel, and then going to Meow Wolf, and then to Wink World. And it's just that is what Area 15 was designed to do. We wanted these very, very disparate sort of experiences, attractions, food and beverage elements to sort of live in harmony together, but not necessarily have to all align perfectly with each other. And it has allowed us to scale and grow, and also welcome these like amazing partnerships and collaborations into a world where our guest is continually exploring. And it also allows for repeatability as well, to your point earlier, because there is so much to do and there are so many different things in different ways to experience all of this. So it's really exciting. And I would add too, imagine a world too where John Wick, goes into our Meow Wolf. Like, how are we also cross promoting these pieces of content and IP together in different worlds? And, also it allows all of us collectively to be introducing our own audiences to new worlds and vice versa. And like any business model like this, all boats are rising together.
Absolutely. So what is it that you look for when you're choosing partners to work with, Meg?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously best-in-class experiences, creativity, a business model and that works. Throughput is a very important thing as well. Both the Dopamine and John Wick experience are pulsed experiences. So, ticketed, understanding what the timing is. And so these are all elements where, of course, you have to have the amazingly creative and authentic product to start with, but the business part has to come in tandem with that as well. I think the other piece to look for with what I think is very interesting nowadays is all of these new companies, whether it's a consumer product brand or it's a media company or a streaming company, everyone is also looking now to, as Zack touched on earlier, how are they continuing to engage with their customer on a deeper level? And that is bringing it into a physical experience to continue to deepen their connection with the brand, or again, repeatability, or if it's an extension for retail sales. All of this is sort of culminating in this or coming full circle, where there is physical, but then there's also so much opportunity to still connect with your customer in the digital world as well. And it's sort of all culminating together, which is it's a really exciting time, I think, for our industry and for defining what this new type of entertainment is for today's customer.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if we sort of take that strand of this deeper engagement, I think storytelling is quite a large part of that. Zack and Kirsten, you're both working with quite kind of strong IPs. So what role is the storytelling playing in that? And I think, do you both have actors in these experiences at Area 15? So how does that play into it as well? Zack, let's start with you for that.
No actors, but you hear Googie-mon's voice for the first time ever in our experience. Googie and Janky have never had voices in the animated content. So story and lore is, yes, absolutely a huge part of it. Like in our intake, like there's, one, even before you come into the experience. And I forgot to mention, we have an awesome, our flagship Superplastic retail attached to our experience. And that's open to anyone. You do not have to have a ticket to our experience to go in. So it's awesome with just amazing toys and Dopamine branded Las Vegas souvenirs. But on screens, outside, inside, and throughout the story, yes, or throughout the experience, it is our animated characters telling you a story, the background of what they're trying to do, where they've fallen short before, having some of our previous videos that have been released on YouTube and TikTok infused. And really kind of, even as you're pulled through the rooms at the very end, like there is that aha moment where kind of Daisy and Janky kind of like, hey, actually, we've been messing with you. This whole thing is so that we can sell it back to you. And so and which people kind of know heading in, but they're kind of guided throughout. So without that story and lore, yes, there's fun things to touch and interact with, but that longer form narrative is really the hook and keeps them interested and keeps them diving in. And it's even something we're starting to do more on our content standpoint. And even with our toys are like, is this toy one of a series of 3? What were the ones before on our content, Janky and Googieman? Like, are these episodes now building upon each other? Are they progressing? You know, when they come to Vegas, they did what are the 3 fun things to do in Vegas? And dopamine was obviously part of it. But maybe for the next one, it can be the John Wick experience, right? Because they have to go show off what they're doing there. And then people kind of stick with that. So overall, we have found that when we provide more story and more to our fans, not only do they like it more and spend more time with us, ultimately it allows us to monetize it better and naturally allows us to connect those that may just watch animated content to those that buy our toys, to those that go into the experience. And obviously for us, like the trifecta would be hitting someone that does all 3 of those, but it's okay if they only do 1 of those 3 or 2 of those 3. But as long as it's connected through this overall story, back to Meg's point, like the rising tide raises all boats, more people are talking about it, then they'll go, oh yeah, I know about dopamine, not in Vegas, but you should check it out because I really like this and this. Or someone's like, I was in Vegas and saw this and this dopamine is great. Now I want to go see what Janky and Googymon are all about with their content because I saw really funny videos there. So yeah, it's the center of the snowball, at least on our end. Huge fan of all the Lionsgate content and IP. So I can imagine Kirsten will build upon that, but really great stuff from the story. Like we have to have it there or it's just not as much fun or effective in our opinion.
And then does it have kind of also just an operational point of view of that story allows people to then kind of move from room to room if those animated characters are telling them?
Correct. They're literally telling you when to move, what happened. And when you walk into each room, there's a vertical mirror at the start, and each character, when you first walk in, it sets the stage. They tell you what this room's about, what you're about to do. And then when it's done, there's some payoff in the room. And then they tell you go to the next. And then it's kind of the same thing, but it's our animated characters and digital versus actors that are doing it. And it allows us some more nimble and flexibility. So as we refresh things or bring in new content, we can just pipe it right into the screen or to the character from the motion capture. And then they start to tell that different story so that we can kind of help with the retention and repeatability by giving people new quests or new things to talk about, or maybe new videos that we're showing off, in Q3 or Q2 that didn't happen right now, but will happen in a few months when it's more relevant around summer festival music season are big for Janky and Googymon. So maybe we'll do something there as it gets into it. The ideas could go endless, are endless. So it's very fun with that.
Absolutely. And then Kirsten, how does storytelling work for you with John Wick?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, building on what Zack was talking about is for us, we think of it as there's so many fabulous ways to tell stories. We love it when they converge and overlap and create something new and heightened in a new way, right? So we're a movie studio. We love movies, absolutely love them. We're thrilled when these Wick films come out and do so well and really satisfy what the audience wants to see. But our team also spends a lot of time in the live theater space. We have a whole slate of shows coming out over the next little while, which we're very excited about. We believe in that too. So, and when you can overlap elements of that together. So here, for the John Wick experience, you've got this incredible movie. They've created a whole universe sort of the world of Wick within the IP. We love to create it physically where guests can go in. Then you have interactors. So not really actors, they're not putting on a show. It's not a show, right? It's an experience, but you've got interactors in there who are also very specialized and have to sort of lean in and kind of love this, like all of our partners do. Anyone who's working on this, you got to be ready to lean in because it's unusual and you've got to kind of work out a lot of it to get it all to work and succeed and blossom together. So you've got interactors who know how to facilitate these missions, how to deal with audience members, guests, having quite a bit of agency, right? That's harder than just putting on a show for them, right? You've got to understand how to stay in character in the world, how to keep everybody safe, how to keep everybody happy and engaged and energized. So you get all of that coming together, and then you're in an immersive space, which wherever you look, you feel like you're in the world. There's nothing that's going to break that mood. So it's all these, it's visual storytelling, it's physical storytelling, it's interaction. And that to us is really exciting as a team. And we find that that's really exciting to our fans as well. It ignites their curiosity and their imaginations, and you just never know where these things are going to lead. And And so we find that super exciting, but it does all come from story and ignites different ways of telling it. And then you never know too, where, we have a lot of agency. We work very closely with the filmmakers. We build really good relationships with our filmmakers at the studio, because they give us a lot of trust, and we want to take, we want to have earned that trust and protect it. And we get quite a bit of freedom to evolve and to add in new elements and explore new areas. And we always try to do that with great respect, to continue to elevate the brand. And who knows, these things that we do come back and impact things that will show up later, perhaps in the franchise. So it's all this really fun convergence of people who really care and are super engaged and super excited and really want to continue to elevate and evolve the brand.
It's so exciting, and I think for fans as well, how amazing for them to be able to be immersed so much into a world that you put so much effort into kind of making authentic and kind of giving them some agency. I think that's really exciting for them. I mean, challenging, as you say, to give them agency, because you're having to deal with a lot of different possibilities. So from a sort of operational point of view, how do you deal with that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, the partners we work with, it's really important, right? Because our team doesn't operate on our own. We've worked with Egan Production on our the official Saw Escape in Las Vegas, as well as the Blair Witch Escape in Vegas, which when we opened the Saw Escape, oh my gosh, was it almost 7 years ago now, I think? It was radical, because it was, room after room after room, and escapes previously, if you got 2, you were lucky. And this is once, and the Saw Escape is also very heavily themed. And then we had someone, I guess it's been open for a while. I can talk about this. There's a individual that shows up, an interactor in there too, that helps you kind of move through. And that was an operational requirement, right? So you have to see, if you're giving people freedom, you might need to give them an escort too, right? And so you're going to have to figure out how that works with story, how that works operationally, and what that ended up, we ended up figuring how to run that experience where throughput became much better. That's also a problem often with escape experiences. How do you get the numbers to work? Because it takes its time. So we have the creative impact, the operations, but then you need a partner that is really willing to lean into the excitement of that and understand the value that brings, and their expertise in show control, which is all, behind the scenes. The audience isn't ever going to see that, but that's all underpinning it too. So, yeah, it's an exciting overlap. And once again, you're having to have disciplines, stage technology that would usually show up in a show versus, media that would usually come from a film, and all of it working together. And so the creative process is exciting. We find it really energizing and fun. And then it gets into the ongoing expertise of knowing how to operate these things really well.
That's true. Yeah.
And good operators are very precious and a little hard to find, I'd say. And that also goes down to it oversimplifies to say Area 15 is a landlord, because they're a partner in this too. But you also have to have all of your partners on every side be ready and excited by being very entrepreneurial, really willing to dive in and find solutions, and then figure out how to run everything well so everyone can succeed over time and have a really consistently good guest experience.
Yeah.
Right. So it's fine to have all of this excitement about what we're going to do, but how is it going to perform for the person who shows up there at 4 on Thursday?
Yep.
And are they going to have as great of a time as the people did the first month? Right. So,
it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes a lot of commitment from every level of an organization. We feel so lucky we get the support at Lionsgate from the CEO all the way through the organization, and our filmmakers all leaning in with us and say, yes, this is exciting. We want to support you in making this happen. And then our ops team, our operations partner also being excited from every level, and also Area 15, because I think that's really what it takes to get it going, and then to sustain and to keep evolving, because audiences are savvy. It used to be the novelty of an immersive experience would carry you a little ways. And the audience is becoming more and more sophisticated. So we've got to keep up in the game, which is exciting and great, but it takes a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, there are so many immersive experiences now that, as you say, is kind of leading to the audiences kind of going, oh, hang on, I expect this, or I expect this from my experience. I mean, Meg, Area 15's been around for a while. So have you seen immersive experiences kind of change over time, and how are you kind of adapting to those new guest experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I started working at Area 15 in 2017. And in those early days, I remember our co-founders and supporting the leasing team when they were talking to potential partners, explaining what immersive is. We were lucky that we had Meow Wolf on board as our anchor tenant, who arguably is the leader in immersive entertainment, but it really hadn't become the mainstream part of the mainstream conversation that it is now. And it's really, to me, it's like incredible how much our industry has grown over the last couple of years. And, we're seeing all of these new types of attractions and experiences not only pop up in Las Vegas. There are a lot that are in Las Vegas now for sure, but also all over in many other markets. They're coming fast and furious. And so I think that's an incredible thing for all of us. I think also it creates now our job is to sort of educate, what is a quality experience versus not a quality experience. Kirsten is 100% correct that we are not in a position where we can now rest on our laurels and say, okay, we have all these like immersive experiences open. In fact, it's time to double down and make sure storytelling is storytelling and being authentic and deeply creative in those in what you're giving to your customer is critical, because I agree they are very sophisticated now with of what this new type of entertainment is. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us now with new technologies. So how are we not only giving them a great experience, but how are they actually becoming like part of the experience? What is the tech that are we personalizing the experience for each individual person going through? Is there what is the follow-up, not only during the time that they're experiencing the attraction, but what is the follow-up, and how are we using tech and storytelling and brand narratives to continue and deepen that connection? So it's a really, really exciting time. But yes, it has changed significantly over the last couple of years. And it's here to stay. And we see that now that more and more companies, as I spoke to earlier, are getting into this physical execution of their brand. And I think we're going to see a lot more in the next couple of years too.
If I can build on that, like one of the fun tech things we've been doing at the company, and dopamine, but also with other stuff we're doing, is the use of AI, kind of helping bring our characters to life. So Daisy is a friend of Janky and Googymon, and she is part of Dopamine Experience, but there are phones where you can call Daisy, and it's a full AI Daisy. So she is loaded with knowledge of Superplastic, Dopamine, Vegas, and you can have a full-blown conversation with her. She's a Fortnite gaming expert. We also have this going with Googie. We haven't rolled it out yet to the public, but it's in our VIP room when Googiemon's set up, and he's tied into current leading model and OpenAI. So like you can ask him real-time questions and he will be able to answer. And so we've been showing that off, and it's our full characters, animated 3D rigs. And so they are interacting with you. And right now, it's audio only with Dopamine and Daisy, but we're, figuring out how we can bring it to life from a visual and audio standpoint, their chat agents, et cetera. So that is one example of like how the tech just makes it that much more immersive and allows us kind of these flexibility to bring these things to people in new and different ways. And so looking forward to continuing to do more of that. But right now, like as something that probably didn't exist a few years ago, because none of it would be like, there's AI Daisy and she's in the control room. She's also in retail. And literally you can just pick up and talk to her and she will talk back. And it's
pretty
wild.
Cool. I had a good conversation with her.
So what other trends do you see as immersive experiences keep going? Because, I mean, they're not dying down, as Meg said, they are across the visitor attraction industry around the world now. Kirsten, what trends do you see?
Well, I do think there's certainly I think it's a great trend, which is, as we've been talking about, just really making sure your quality is really, really high and you're going to be enhancing the brand rather than anything that could cause trouble. I love the food and beverage trends as well that come.
Yeah.
I remember I've worked in this industry for quite a while, right? And partners feeling comfortable taking on an experience, sort of an attraction, that was a leap for people, right? You look at mall operators, et cetera. I've talked to mall operators for so long and they've really grown, right? And what they feel they can take on, right? Or what people are willing to expand to be able to produce. And it used to also be, to get anyone to talk about food or beverage, they were very, very worried about it, but people want it. They love it. And it makes sense on lots of levels, but once again, none of it's easy. And you do need a more sophisticated location to handle that. But it can really just be so rewarding, and people really want that. And to come up with something unique, that's another fun area of creativity, right? Because of course you want to have a drink that is really specific to the Continental, right? So, and in Las Vegas, that's you can get some great drinks in that town. So what are we going to do that's going to be really unique and everybody's going to want to have? And it's a great thing to explore, and you can't leave it out, because if you do, people will be very sad and you've left something on the table. But you also have to be smart, because not everything should be a restaurant, right? But figuring that out and figuring out how to continue to offer more and more of what guests want, and figuring out how to keep that quality level just where we need it. And then, I know it's such silly words, but actually I don't think so. Surprising and delighting people. And the more we see, the harder in some ways that is to do, but also people are game, right? Like I always love benchmarking in London, and a few years back, that was a place where you'd go and people would go out and do things that they wouldn't necessarily do in other cities. I think guests are learning how to behave in these things and being more comfortable. I remember as an audience member back, and I'm not like this anymore, but I used to like to sit and you show me, and it's going to be a great experience, and it's very passive. And now I love getting into it. I'll crawl through whatever. I don't care. And I really enjoy it. And I think audiences have come along with that. And so you can do more with them, and they want more. And they think it enters their mind to have a higher expectation, which is great. But then you better be surpassing that.
Absolutely. Zack, what trends are you seeing? Where is the future going, do you think?
I love the food one, because the themed food things are very fun. I think you're going to continue to see a lot of AI elements and infusion of what you can do, and whether they are an agent guiding you, whether they are a character in it, or whether then they're part of the surprise and delight. I think that's continuing. And then kind of in line with the surprise and delight, I do think there is a marriage between collectibles and collectability and experiences. So people want mementos. They want something to remember it by. All of our experiences are amazing in the visual memories, mental ones, and photos and videos that you're going to get. but kind of what is that? And this is back to our roots of kind of limited edition vinyl art figures. Like, what is the one takeaway that I only get if I go to the experience? So like in the John Wick Continental, I'm hoping, do I get one of those Continental coins if I go there and do something extra to then get a keep? Because I know I can't get anywhere else. I love that movie and would be amazing. And then we're thinking of ways of like with our products, like what product or variation is maybe only available at dopamine, or if you go through dopamine, or if you achieve a certain status and unlock something. So I think that collectibles and some collectability you'll start to see with continued trends with the experiences. So it gives people that memento beyond the souvenir, beyond the photo visual thing that is only able to get if you go through it itself.
Yeah, I mean, I love a collectible. I actually really miss that you don't have physical tickets for a lot of things anymore, because I love keeping tickets. Like, I have this, even for like theatre and things, like I have a book of Shakespeare, and I used to put all of my tickets every time I saw a performance of Shakespeare in it, and you don't get them anymore. It's not the same printing off my like e-ticket, but I think you're right, Zach. I think people want that thing to hold on to. They can look back and it just takes you back to that experience that you had. So yeah, bring back a ticket, people. Meg, what trends do you think you're seeing at Area 15?
Yeah, a few things just to play on or to extend what Zach was saying. I'm interested to see what more traditional retail is and how they're going to get into the immersive space. I think Superplastic is doing a great job with their retail location in dopamine, but thinking about, in John Wick experience, for example, if one of the guests wants to purchase, the same suit that the character is wearing, and the traditional retail space and apparel and footwear, I think, has dipped its toe a little bit in immersive, doing pop-ups and cold rooms and, testing out gear and apparel, but they haven't really gone full into it yet. So I would love to see an integration in that way into a place like Area 15, where there is a seamless, again, using AI or something, you're trying on the clothes and then there's a path to purchase would be, I think, a really interesting trend to see how that can be fleshed out. With Area 15 too, we are doing a lot with integration with our music and events. So, again, today's customer isn't, they don't want to just go sit and watch, a musician or someone on the stage. It's like, how are you being part of that show? How are you integrating yourself into that entire experience? And so we do a lot of that with our massive festival series, where the entire building is sort of activated, and you can come early, you can go get a food and beverage offering, and then you can go to some of our experiences and then go to see the show. So I think that integration with entertainment, events, and food and beverage, and doing immersive experiences all together provides a really holistic approach to like a night out and the new type of entertainment.
Absolutely. And just very kind of quickly to round what has been a very interesting discussion off, what challenges are you seeing either within your own business or just kind of with the immersive experience industry as a whole? Meg, I will start with you this time.
Obviously, I touched on it earlier, a competition that is going to be something that's going to be with all of us. So how are you differentiating yourself? How are you staying relevant? I think being flexible and able to update and change content on a regular basis is important for repeatability and to have the same customer come back again and again and experience the attraction or the offering in some different way is critical. And scalability, right? So how are you reaching new audiences? What are you doing that's different every single time? And the most important thing is how we're treating our customer when they come. That is a critical thing. Surprise and delight is a really important thing for us at Area 15 as well. We want our guests to feel like they are the star of the show, and that is our number one priority.
Zach, what challenges are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, share wallet and discoverability on any business, right? There's a lot of options out there. So for those that aren't already like, hey, I know Janky Gugman, I'm in Vegas, I'm going to Dopamine. How do we get those that don't know anything about it when they have a plethora of options? Area 15 set up in a great way with an experience pass that allows us to do that, so people can dip their toes. They basically buy a pass to a lot of the things, and we can be one of them. And then we're just working through a gameplay. Like we're just trying to enhance it. And because people are interacting with it, that means sometimes things get messed up and broken. So being able to quickly fix those, enhance and keep it moving, because it is an experience. So all new, nothing crazy. I think that's just a challenge of running this type of business.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirsten, what challenges are you seeing?
Well, I hear both of the things that Meg and Zack are talking about, absolutely. And I think, it costs just very practically, thinking about maybe who's going to be, watching this, et cetera, that the costs to do things just keep getting higher and higher. And so, and that's hard because one thing that's really fun about these experiences, or I think is important about these experiences, is when you step out of a real traditional theater structure, ticket price is lower. It's more sort of egalitarian. You get a lot of people who go to see this who might not go and sit down in a Broadway show or a West End show. They'll come to this kind of experience instead, and you want to keep a price that people can afford to do, and people can afford to do together, because everyone wants to. That's what we really want. We want to get out. We want to do real things and experience them with our loved ones and our friends. So you have to protect that price point, and yet we require and demand high quality experience, extremely safe experiences, and then the labor that you need good people in there. So that is a real balancing act, balancing act to figure out how to make the business of it work and support the creative that we want to do. And so it's a challenge. I don't think it's an insurmountable challenge, but it's something that has to stay in the front of your mind, because we can come up with the best idea that we know people would love, but if you can't afford to run it and you can't afford to pay the people and the expenses of it as necessary, it won't succeed. So, our imagination is limitless, but we got to figure out how to be very, very creative with the business as well, so that all of these things are responsibly handled.
Absolutely. So important, isn't it? Because as well, if you get that price point wrong for your visitors, they're going to potentially be really disappointed because it may not live up to the expectations of something that they've paid money for. And that's then going to negatively impact the entire industry, because they then might not go and see something else. So a very careful balance that you've got to walk there. So good to keep in mind, everyone who is watching, just keep thinking about that. That is everything we have time for today, but this has been so interesting. Thank you so much, Meg, Zack, and Kirsten, for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm sure everyone watching has learned a lot, and it's been very interesting. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone watching as well. And we are going to announce the winners of our Immersive Experience Innovation Awards next. So stick around for that. And then we will be back tomorrow at the Festival of Innovation. So make sure you join us for day 2 as well. So thank you so much, Meg, Zack, and Kirsten, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
And now the winners of the 2024 blooloop Innovation Awards Immersive Experience Culture category. Third place, the Ephesus Experience Museum from Panasonic Connect Europe and DEM Museums. Second place, Arte Museum Las Vegas from AVI SBL. And first place, Marshmallow Laser Feast Works of Nature from Acme. Congratulations to all of the winners. And now the winners of the 2024 blooloop Innovation Awards Immersive Experience category. Third place, The Legend of Luna at Great Wolf Lodge, Perryville from BRC Imagination Art. Second place, Rumble in the Jungle rematch. And first place, Phantom Peak from the League of Adventure. Congratulations to all of the winners.